Hi, Sam Burke, Corporate Chef for Meat and Livestock Australia, and welcome to our 6th episode of Rare Medium Academy. Today we're going to focus on something very close to my heart. It's how to perfect the perfect steak for your business. Whether it's butchery, a simple sandwich, takeaway, right up to fine dining, at Rare Medium Academy we have your back. Our team is here to create, educate and inspire success with Australian red meat, beef, veal, lamb and goat on your menu. So who is this program for? Well, it's for the food service professional, the chef, the chefs in the making, procurement managers, peak industry councils, producers and anyone who has a love for Australian red meat. About me, Sam Burke, Corporate Chef, MLA, 26 years in the business. 20 of them focusing on retail, right up to food service, and now as the corporate chef for MLA. So I live and breathe the product. I want to pay homage to the producer, the people that give us the wonderful product that makes sure we have happy customers every day, and that's our beef, lamb, veal and goat producers. Rare Medium Academy, the journey, what's it about? Produce at a plate, where we take chefs back to the source. They get immersed in the product and then create a dish right there on site which will inspire others. We'll talk a bit about that later. We've also got our pro tips where we give inspiration to help everyday food service professionals have success with our product on menu. And then we've got recipes to back you up, whether it be a function for thousands right down to a cafe lunch. But first, let's look at our grill masters. Seagrass Boutique Hospitality, the top of their game. We'll go into a bit about the business later, but our chefs, Executive Chef Sean Hall and Head Chef Scott Grieve are here to show us inspiration with how they look after one of the best steak restaurants in the country, Six Head. But first up, our corporate master butcher, Doug Piper. He's our resident butcher and he has an unstoppable passion for red meat. Today, Doug is going to showcase the rib set live at Woko Station at Macca's Great Australian Beef at Gloucester on the east coast of New South Wales. The standing rib set is a versatile cut. We're going to take a deep dive to help you have success with it on menu.
G'day, I'm Doug Piper from Meat and Livestock Australia. We're here today at Macca's Farm in Gloucester. Beautiful backdrop. Beautiful place to show you and exhibit Australian beef. This is Angus beef that we've got here today. This is grown here on the premises in Woko Station. This is what we call a set of ribs, a beef set of ribs from the forequarter. This is the cut where we get some of those best pieces of beef that you'll ever eat in your life. We're going to get a tomahawk out of this. We can also get a set of ribs. This is the part there where we cut the Scotch fillet from. And we can also get those beautiful little cattleman's cutlets. We're also here with Executive Chef Sean from Seagrass Boutique Hospitality Group, who specialise in QSR and fine dining. So I'm going to prepare this set of ribs for Sean and his team so they can take these cuts back to their venues and inspire all their chefs about the beautiful beef that Macca's Farm produces. So the first cut we're going to get off this beef set of ribs is a tomahawk, that beautiful big steak that every bloke loves to have on their plate. Unfortunately, we have to share it with somebody because it's just too much meat there to eat on your own. So we're going to just separate that straight between the first and second rib, just going to cut straight through there so we've got a beautiful, nice tomahawk steak. Then we're going to show you how to get the beef spare ribs. Unfortunately, we've had all the meat taken off it, all that beautiful, rich, thick layer of rib meat taken off this. But this is the beef spare ribs that you use to be slow cooked, so it gives you that really nice gelatinous meal of beef. That's going to leave us with a little standing rib roast, which is a beautiful dish that you can have. You can serve for your friends and family, or looks great as a shared plate on the table. And out of that, we can also cut some great little cattleman's cutlets.
Well, there he is, Doug Piper, a legend when it comes to Australian red meat in food service. He's our resource based right here in North Sydney, and he's always available to help food service out with any inquiries they have as well. reach out to us at Rare Medium Academy and we will put you in contact with our master butcher. Now coming up, Seagrass Boutique Hospitality. These guys are at the top of their game, whether it be fast service QSR restaurants with ribs and burgers, right up to great casual dining, butcher and farmer, meat and wine co, and then their pinnacle restaurant, Six Head. We have liaised with the kings of red meat. These guys are the grill masters. Now, first up, we're going to talk to the corporate chef of the whole organisation, Sean Hall, who comes from Johannesburg and has beef in his veins. He's going to talk to us about the attributes of both dry-aged beef and wet-aged beef, along with some stories about how he came to the position he has today. Let's go to Sean, live at Six Head, Sydney. Welcome to the iconic Six Head Steakhouse, right here at the Rocks in Sydney Harbour. And to my right, I've got a gentleman that needs no introduction, Executive Chef of Six Head, Sean Hall, who actually has beef in his veins when he was raised in his grandfather's farm back in Johannesburg in South Africa. Chef, welcome to Rare Medium Academy.
Perfect. Thank you very much for coming to Six Head. So yeah, as you've mentioned, obviously growing up on a beef farm in South Africa, beef's instilled in me. From a very young age, I got to understand the process, the feeding lot, and also get to appreciate it. I think from a very young age, biltong was part of my diet, you know, having that before sweets and all of that. So I love beef, I love the process, I love the flavour, and that obviously set off for my career moving forward. I left Johannesburg at the age of 22, moved over to the UK, spent my first 3 years in the Lake District, working with a very, very passionate Scottish chef, where obviously everything was instilled in me, understood the process of fruit, veg, meat. But what was great is working with Scottish beef and understanding the flavour profiles, obviously coming from South Africa. Spent 6 years with the Jamie Oliver Group, where I came over to Australia, and then started my journey with Seagrass Hospitality. Bradley Michael, the CEO and the founder, is obviously South African himself. Very big love for beef, and I think our business has been set around beef. So we obviously had a great opportunity to launch Six Head, work with some phenomenal suppliers around Australia. And during the lead up to Six Head, we were able to get some big primals in, and start aging the process, aging the meat and understanding the process a bit better for Six Head.
So Sean, that's what brings us to our next segment today, the unique attributes of dry-aged beef and wet-aged beef. Now here at Six Head, they're famous for their dry-aged beef. So I want to learn a bit more about it, Sean. What does Six Head do to take that dry-aged beef to the next level for the consumer?
Yeah, so obviously historically, through the years, from the 1800s, that's how beef was naturally aged up until about the late 1960s, when wet age started coming in. At Six Head, we focus on the sweet spots of dry age. We've got 3 dry age cabinets within our facility, and we work very closely with our suppliers and our purveyors to make sure we get the right produce in. With the beef itself, obviously it's a loss of moisture, breakdown of fibre that makes the meat extremely tender. Yes. But also the growth of bacterial around it, which is the flavour enhancer. As we play with it, obviously there's certain spots, you usually age it from anything from 17 to 14 days. But at Six Head, we take it over that. During the lead up to the opening of Six Head, we did the aging process on our different primals. And for instance, for our tomahawks, we only go up to 2 weeks. For our T-bones, we go up to 4. And for our OP on the bone, we go up to 6 weeks. And we found a nice sweet spot on that. I think the clients like the flavour profile on it. It's not too intense. I think with the OP, because there's a little bit more fat on it, it really enhances the flavour. You get that lovely porcini, blue cheese flavour come through. And then obviously with our side dishes and our sauce, it just gives a little bit of extra flavour to it.
So Chef was talking about dry-aged beef being the only way of aging beef right up to the 1960s. What we're seeing now is the majority of beef that goes into both food service and consumer is wet aged. So what is wet aged? It's when the primals are broken down and then cryovac and then stored in a refrigerator or cool room at about 4 degrees to 5 degrees. what happens is the product ages a lot faster and it becomes tender a lot faster, but it doesn't not necessarily add to the flavour like dry age does. So there's a trade-off. You lose more yield with dry age, but you get more of a meatier flavour. And with wet age, you get the tenderness and you get an excellent product faster in the wet age process. Well, I hope you got some good ideas and some information that'll help you on in your business about wet aged and dry aged beef. Now, our next segment, we weren't going to let Sean just get off without showing us how to cook the perfect steak. So we took Sean back to Macca's farm at Woco Station, where he was there, right immersed in the product, and he could bring his true passion to the plate. Let's go now to Sean Hall and his wonderful version of a tomahawk steak over open flames.
Hi, I'm Sean Hall, Head of Culinary Seagrass Hospitality. Today I'm here at Macca's Farm with the Rare Medium Academy. Growing up in a farm in South Africa brought back a lot of memories today. We got to experience the cattle live. Macca himself took us on a journey to understand how the cattle are bred, fed, and how it ends up on the plate in the restaurant. Today I'm going to talk you through how to cook the perfect steak. We've got this beautiful tomahawk from Macca's Black Angus, 150-day grain fed. Let's start the journey. When cooking the perfect steak, there's 3 steps to it. Preparation, the cooking itself, and then the resting. Today I'm going to show you how to prepare this beautiful piece of meat, cook it on the open fire, and rest it up. Step 1, you want to take your steak out an hour before serving. Season well. The reason for this is you want an even and consistent cook through the meat. Step 2, make sure your pan or your fire is extremely hot. You want to continuously turn your steak while cooking to ensure that the steak is cooked evenly. For me as a chef, I prefer to cook my steak rare to medium rare, so it contains its juices and you don't get any toughness on the meat itself. Step 3, and probably the most important step of this whole cooking process, is to ensure you rest your steak. A lot of people miss this step, which causes the meat to be extremely tough and chewy. The reason you rest your steak is you want the muscles to relax. How I usually do it is I hit it with a little bit of olive oil and lemon juice, and then right before serving, just put it back on the flame, bring the meat back to life, and then serve. Enjoy the perfect steak.
There he is, a true grill master and a passionate perfection, executive chef and corporate chef of Seagrass Boutique Hospitality, Sean Hall. Now our next guest is his right-hand man. This gentleman grew up in the UK in a small rural town, learning about the passion of produce from his grandfather. He's had an immense culinary journey, as well as working as a butcher in his younger days, and pushes the boundary of innovation to every dish. It's the head chef of Sydney's premier steakhouse, Six Head, Scott Grieve. Scott's going to walk through with me on his career, and then we're going to talk about, both of us, the attributes of grass and grain-fed beef, branded beef, and the World Eating Quality System, Meat Standards Australia. Let's go back to Six Head with Scott Grieve, head chef. Hi, Sam Burke, corporate chef for Rare Medium Academy. We are here live at the iconic Six Head at the Rocks in Sydney. Now, this restaurant has really been shaking it up in the dining scene here in Sydney, and we've got the head chef to my right, and we're going to talk all things steak today. Scott Grieve, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Sam.
So, mate, what a venue. How do you become the head chef of Six Head? Talk to me. Talk to me about your history.
So basically, I started in the UK. I used to work for Jamie Oliver for 8 years. Got the opportunity to come out to Australia after I'd opened a few restaurants for them. Started off with 5 in the UK and went up to 30. Came to Australia, and luckily enough, Sean, who I used to work with, who's the executive chef for Seagrass, asked me if I want to come and open this beautiful venue. Couldn't really turn it down, to be honest. It's amazing.
I'll tell you what, everything I see on social media about this just makes me salivate, and it's just about time we came together. The meat chef for Australia and the legend behind the grill. So today we're going to talk about the unique attributes of both grass and grain-fed beef. Let's start off with grass. What I love about grass-fed is you get that nice yellow fat in the skin, and that comes from the pigmentation from the grass that the animals eat, and it's actually got carotene in it, so that's what gives it its colour. And then you've got that nice earthy, robusty flavour in grass-fed steak. Grass-fed beef tends to vary in its flavour, texture and tenderness, and that's because of the different tropical breeds in the grass all around of Australia. It's our job here at Rare Medium Academy to help chefs have a great understanding of what they're cooking. How do you do that here, Chef Scott, with your team?
So basically every month we have a class with the supplier, Tony, from Global Meats. Tony will come down and do an educational and demonstration day with the staff, including the front of house staff as well. So the front of house staff can then go and tell the guests what they're eating, what's on the menu for 6 Ed.
So branded beef, Scott, it tells the story of the provenance, whether it's been ethically produced, organic. You know, it just gives the consumer that kind of experience that they want to know where their food has come from. How does that come to play in an iconic restaurant like Six Head?
So here at Six Head, we've came up with an extensive meat program. So we've worked closely with purveyors across Australia they've told us their story. We've gone to them and now we supply their product here. That story is then told to our customers.
Fantastic. So it's like a fine wine. People want to know where their food has come from.
Yep.
And it's our job in food service, not only for front of house, but the back of house, to have that knowledge so we can pay respect to the
that
products.
Traceability, so people know that everything's ethically sourced, it's local. Yeah, it's what customers want right now.
So what underpins branded beef? Australia's Eating Quality Program, Meat Standards Australia. So what that is a program that provides eating quality assurance from the pasture to the processor, to the chiller, to the chef, to make sure that when Scott cooks his wonderful meat, that the customer is getting an optimum eating experience every time. Just like grass-fed, grain-fed has a lot of positive attributes as well. All cattle starts on grass, but the last 90 days, traditionally in Australia, cattle are finished on grain. So depending on the ration or what the animal's eating when it's finished, can depend on the marble score of the animal. So what we find with grain-fed is that there's a lot more consistency, the fat is a lot wider, and we tend to have a lot of more marbling, which is intramuscular fat, which adds to tenderness when cooking. Obviously, Scott, you serve both grass and grain-fed. Talk to us about some of the unique attributes of grain-fed beef here at Six Head.
So the grain-fed beef that we're using at Six Head is a higher marble score. So we're using a marble score 9+ product at the minute from Miura. So basically they feed the animal lollies and chocolates at their last days of feeding.
Wow.
So the product we get then is a marble score 9. By the time that's cooked down and the fat's melted, it's amazing.
Out of control. And it's just that kind of consistency that you can get as a chef that makes things a bit easier for you.
Exactly. Yeah. You find that a lot with grain-fed beef. It's a lot more consistent because you can control what it's eating.
So you've got that beautiful earthy flavour of the grass, and you've got that high marble score and consistency of grain-fed. Both a winner on menu.
Both amazing. Both absolutely amazing products.
So quick recap. Grass-fed beef, 100% of its life on our wonderful pastures. Grain-fed beef, 85 to 90% on pasture and then finished off on grain. Lastly, branded beef and MSA underpinning it with the producer to plate story so the consumer knows exactly what they're eating. Well, there you go, grass and grain-fed beef, both very special and have their own unique attributes. Now, we're going to go back to Woko Station, but before I do that, I'll talk about when we took Chef Scott and Sean out to see Macca's Black Angus farm 2 months ago. The thing is, when we're in kitchens, we often get caught up with the stress, the hustle and the bustle to get the job done for the customer. Every now and then, chefs need to take a breath of fresh air, go back and educate themselves so they come back with a better story for the customer. This is what I found when we took these chefs out of their busy everyday environments and out to the farm. They learned about the husbandry, they learned about the land management, they learned about the passion from the farmer, they learned about the cut for cook utilisation with the Meat Standards Australia program, they learned about butchery from Doug. So that's what Producer to Plate's about, taking the chefs that are putting in those 70 to 80 hours back to the farm, giving them a breath of fresh country air and learning about the passionate producers of Australian beef, veal, lamb and goat. And that's what Producer to Plate's about. And I'll talk to this after Scott's steak recipe back at Woco Station. Let's go, Scott Grieve. Show us how you do your steak, mate.
Hi, my name's Scott Grieve. I'm the head chef at Six Head in Sydney. Today we're here at Macca's Farm with Rare Medium Academy. Today I'll be cooking the ribeye on the bone. I'll be simply seasoning it with Maldon sea salt to help bring out the flavour, and then it'll probably take about 20 minutes on the grill and then another 10 minutes to rest it after that. So today with my steak I'll be serving a charred gem salad with green goddess dressing, toasted nuts. We've got cauliflower in the pizza oven, just marinated with some Café de Paris butter. And then also we've got some corn on the grill, which I'll just serve with some fermented chili. What better way to let the steak be the hero of the plate than serve it with some simple sides.
Well, thank you, Scott. I definitely felt even more passionate about cooking our product after seeing what both you and Sean put on the plates today. Now, question time. We've had a lot of questions come through email, so I'm going to go through them very slowly and make sure that we cover them off. The first one was, what's the ideal thickness for a steak? Here at Meat and Livestock Australia, Rare Medium Academy, we advise 3.5 to 4 centimetres. You want a good thick steak because that'll allow you more range to get your degree of doneness right. If it's too thin, how can you master rare, medium, medium rare, well done steak? It's very hard. So 3 to 4 centimetres will give you good breadth, to get that degree of doneness that you're looking for in food service. Why do we let red meat come to room temperature before cooking? Why can't we just put a cold steak straight on the grill? Because we want a good sear and crust. If your steak is cold, it'll stew when you put it on the hot grill plate. We want to make sure that you get a good crust. So it's as simple as that. Take your red meat out 15 to 20 minutes, let it come to room temperature, season, then straight on your grill or heavy base pan. What are the best surfaces to cook on? Well, you can do a deep pan. We're even doing steaks these days in combi ovens, sous vide, griddle plate, or even a fire grill. What I like best, and it's just personal, what I do in my backyard every weekend and what I do at work, is I love to cook on a hot grill plate because the juices drip down back on the coals and that smoke wafts back up and goes into the flavour of the steak. And that enhances the appearance of your product and the flavour for your customer. There are different cuts on the animal, which cooks best. Well, of course, different parts on the anatomy of the beast are going to cook with different times. But I love everything from, we're so lucky with our product. Whether it's rump, whether it's inside skirt, flank, sirloin, T-bone, Scotch fillet, straight up to the Delmonico steak from the chuck, petite, tender, oyster blade, flat iron steak, the beef carcass has what you need. We've got all that inspiration right here if you go to Pro Tips on Rare Medium Academy. We go through a variety of those steaks so you can master them. So go to raremediumacademy.com, Pro Tips Beef, and we'll walk you through all the steaks you need to know to put on your business and have success and get customers back to produce the greatest steak on earth with Australian beef. Now, is Meat Standards Australia a brand? I constantly get asked this. No, it's not a brand. It's an eating quality grading system developed by the Australian industry. Over 100,000 sensory customer tests with 1 million pieces of meat. You can't go wrong. We've got the system worked out everywhere from the producer to the processor to the chiller to the food service establishment. So when you put an MSA graded product on your menu, you're going to have success with it. Now, Meat Standards Australia, we're going to delve in with that with our professional, Mr. Kelly Payne, on our next episode. Stick around for that. Now, lastly, Producer to Plate. A champion that I met this time last year, right in the middle of COVID, was producer Robert McKenzie. And he came and saw me and he said, Sam, I have this passion for not only my business, but Australian red meat in food service and consumer. I've seen what you guys do. Can we work together? How can you say no to someone that drives all the way to Gloucester with passion to take not only his brand, but Australian red meat as a whole to the next level? So we accepted. We took 3 of the leading chefs from Donata, Australian Venue Company, and Seagrass Hospitality back to the farm where they got immersed in the product to produce the greatest dishes on earth right there at Woco Station. So look out for Rare Medium Academy. Series 2, Producer to Plate with Macca's Australian Beef. Let's go to the preview. Hi, Sam Burke, Corporate Chef for Meat and Livestock Australia. Welcome to the Producer to Plate Rare Medium Academy Beef Series, where we take leading food service professionals back to the source to learn what goes in to the greatest meat on earth, Australian beef. Welcome to Macca's Black Angus, right here in Gloucester, New South Wales. Well, there you go. Producer to Plate coming to a screen near you, June 1, to tie in with the Australian Beef campaign. Now, Rare Medium Academy, please don't forget, go to it, raremediumacademy.com, and we'll have all the recipes for today underneath our recipe section. Our pro tips section is there to guide you through tips on Australian beef, lamb, and red meat over flames. Also, our Producer to Plate series, kicking off with Macca next month, and also our prior shoot with Charlie Blomfield and our lamb specialty chefs for Producer to Plate Series 1. Our next webinar, do join in on the 17th of June, where we team up with MLA, AMPC and Kilcoy at The Hub, Australia's red meat destination for NPD, where we're going to focus on great winter roasts. I'm Sam Burke, Corporate Chef for Meat and Livestock Australia, here for episode 6 of Rare Medium Academy. We'll see you next time.